This is how much I've thrown away in just a week, how many plastics I have thrown away, the plastic bottles and container. And not just that, the cans and also the plastic wrappings. And ever since the coronavirus hit Korea, we have been ordering more delivery food and prepackaged food, and this is adding to the mess I'm already creating. Okay, so you've just seen how much plastic I have been using. Even though I try to cut down the amount of plastics I throw away, it's not easy, and especially after the virus hit, there are ever more plastics, ever more plastic wrappings and packages I see everywhere. So it's getting more serious rather than getting better. So today, that's why I want to talk about the plus side and the negative side of the plastic use. The plus side is, of course, its price. It's very cheap. And so because it's cheap, the companies have adopted plastics to every products, to plastic pan, plastic dish, forks, spoons. It's everywhere. Plastic cups too. So it's everywhere. Literally, they're littered on the beach, on the mountains, and because Korea has good recycling system. If you go and visit the recycling center, it's mostly piled up of plastics. But anyway, so since I'm talking about the positive sides, plastics are very cheap and convenient and light. Let's talk about the negative side of plastics. The biggest problem with plastic is that it doesn't go anywhere. It takes hundreds and thousands of years for plastic to decompose and be out of this world. And for a single use of plastic, it takes hundreds and thousands of years to disappear. So we are really putting a lot of burden on our earth because we bury the plastics and we burn the plastics, and earth is struggling. It is suffering because of the single use of plastic we have thrown away to the soil and to the air. So we really should feel, responsible for creating all this pollutions in the soil, in the air, and in the sea as well. And another negative side of plastic is that it can be made into a very, very small particle and be fed by the fish, and then later fed by the humans. So the small microplastic particles come into our body eventually in a cycle, and we end up eating them, absorbing them. And even the wet tissue we are using has a lot of plastics inside. So we should raise awareness at how much plastic we're consuming in everyday lives. And as for Korea, we used to export our plastic waste to China or to Malaysia until a couple of years ago, but they started to ban any importing of the plastics from overseas. So now Korea is overwhelmed with plastic waste, in which we don't know how to deal with, and and they get buried under the soil. But what would it do to the soil? It would contaminate the whole earth, and what would happen to the vegetables or fruits grown on them? So we should be really careful, and we should really think of the alternative way to spend the products. That was it today. That was plus and minus of plastics.